This is Dwarf Fortress, and I'm starting a new series on a small, sustainable fort. Hopefully, I won't get overwhelmed with all my projects and complications as I normally do, but we'll see the slow cascade into insanity. Start by creating a new world. Creating a new world. I like going to detailed modes, and I have a couple options that I've pre-configured. This doesn't have everything I like, but I have a end year for development of the world being 2 and increased a bunch of civilizations and other monsters, just forgotten beasts, things that make the world interesting. So I'll proceed through here. One of the goals of this series will be to have a minimum, not minimum, but to have a fort that starts out with near the minimum uh, things that are possible and continues from there to be a self sustaining fort for hundreds of dwarves. Might take a little while to get to that point, but that is the goal. I had originally anticipated doing this with just a pickaxe and a wood cutting axe. However, I think I'm going to do a generic start, just whatever I start with is what I get. Whatever they assign me is what I start with, it's what I get, and from there I'll proceed. This should mimic what most people start as when they create their first world, so it should be interesting at least. Nothing too complicated. All right, as you can see, because of all the conditions, I've lack of peaks. All the conditions in there. It takes a while to generate a world for me. Enough mountains. Continue till you give me another warning. It should be fine. I've generated worlds with this particular set of instructions before, so there should be no problem. Usually it has trouble placing enough civilizations. I think I have 80, so it takes. Oh, see, no problem. It takes a minute usually. Uh, Emerald, Demon, Nagoso the Bad, Safe Taker. Interesting. Elf, Lizard, Friend, became the master of that. Emerald, Demon, Nagoso the Bad, Malice, and Holy Vice, Fields of Chaining. Okay. We probably won't interact with any of those, at least the first episode, but later on, maybe. Let's do Fortress. And like I said, I'm just going to do the generic, whatever they give me is what I start with. I'm going to skip the tutorial. Okay. We're going to find an embark location. 3-3 is a good size. I want no aquifers. Choose up the levels that you can actually build on. This is really interesting up here. I'm not going to do that this playthrough, but an ice volcano, that's fun. I'm sure it would lead to lots of fun. Okay, so 3 by 3 will be what I'm looking for an embark location, no aquifers, temperature. mm, I'll pick temperature on my own. What I do want to make sure that I get in this is fluxstone layer. It's usually not a problem, but just want to be sure they do. So, looking at this map, if it'll let me, up here, it's going to be colder, of course, the ice cap. It's not cold down here. One thing that I ran into was my river was freezing during the winter because I had an area about up here. Did not enjoy that. I had to dig down the caverns very quickly to try and get water for a dwarf that had sustained injuries and was dehydrated, and opened myself up to the caverns very much earlier than I wanted. Wasn't a problem, but it's not something I wanted to do. So this playthrough, I think that I will pick someplace a bit warmer to start, and there look to be plenty of options. The Oceanic Standards is all the way up there. Daggers of Feet is down here, so we'll do Dagger of Feet as our starting civilization. They got a few more dwarves. I've never seen this early a starting civilization with under 200 dwarves. This is interesting. I wonder what happened here. Hopefully they survive. We might be the only dwarven civilization after a while. This is joyous wilds, hot, dry forest. It's not bad, but let's look. Untamed wilds, vegetation thick, heavily forested, temperature warm. We have clay, soil, light aquifer. I'm looking for clay, sand, some soil. That's great. Fluxstone. All of this is perfect. This one even has a river. Let's back up, clear find results, and add river. I forgot. I do like having a river, though I don't like aquifers. I like having rivers available to me. Clay, yes. Sand, yes. Begin. Already narrowing down where we can actually start. Beggars can be choosers. This is excellent. Once again, this is probably too cold, although I do like how close they are to a bunch of goblins. That's sure to be fun. Down here, we've got elves, some humans, goblins over here. Maybe I'll try and start over here more, just so we're a little closer to them. I want to start by goblins, if I can. Would not mind getting some raids against my lands. So if we come over here, you can see goblins. Oh, a day's travel. That's not bad. This one is very nice. The river start right there, so not a lot of squares are taken up by the river. There's one here with the river running through the south. Freshwater marsh. I've never actually started in a marsh. Don't know that I'm going to. I'm thinking somewhere along here. Let's look at what the other options are. Savanna. So light vegetation. Don't love that. Again, tree sparse, moderate vegetation. Don't love this. And up here was an area. It does have sand. It's got a river running through it. Scrubland. So it's got trees, untamed wilds, moderate vegetation. Let's look back over here. This is more heavily forested. I do like heavily forested. So I'm gonna start over here. Where's the... This should have clay and sand. It does, all the way down there. That's fine. Clay and sand. I think I'm gonna pick this location. So embark, come down here. Just gonna say dangerous wildlife, confirm, and we're just gonna do play now. And we will see what we begin with. So I've set it up to pause immediately upon start, just so I can get a lay of the land. Ooh, giant cougars, what it's advertising in this area. That's very nice. Now, looking around, we can very quickly see what other animals are around. Just aquatic animals. And that was strange. For some reason, Dwarf Fortress crashed. I thought I would try and hide that as much as I could, but when I went to play again, I found that I had not saved the embark just yet, so I'm running the embark scan again. And when I was selecting the dwarven faction I was from, I noticed the oceanic standards are now down to 170 dwarves. That's quite scary. Okay, so let's see. I believe I picked this bottom one. Someone can tell me if I didn't and if I actually changed where I started. So let's do this. Confirm. Play now. Hopefully I don't get the same crash I got before, although we'll have different animals this time. Let's see if we get giant dingoes again. Yep. So we are Daggertruss. Perfect. If this doesn't crash, that's a good sign. It didn't crash. Others, we've got hippos. That's a bit scary. We've got a stray boar. Oh, a stray lamb. I like these animals. I don't have a pair of anything. Labors. Alright, so let's get our dwarves sorted. First, I don't like fishers. I'm going to get rid of that. And they are going to become a miner. Let's get my planters sorted and get them gathering plants in standing orders. Do not automatically collect that. Only farmers harvest. Leave the experience for them. And from the kitchen, let's not cook up the plump helmets. We want the seeds. And everything else looks okay. So, having a river and these little pools of water is good for multiple reasons. The first thing is I'll be able to get water underground in my fort. And the second thing is I really like willow. Willow is one of the lightest woods you can get, and it grows around sources of water. So it will grow around these little pools and grow along rivers. In my opinion, it's a great reason to actually embark in these locations, even if you don't plan on using the river. I would embark there. Alright, let's just get a bunch of things scheduled to be cut down. Dwarves, after all. Going to need the wood. And we're going to start planning how to get down into our fortress area. I think the first step will be to go down 3 layers. So we'll take stairs down 3 layers, go across 1, then we'll go up 2 to up here. And what that does is that'll leave us 1 gap from the surface. Surface is 41, we're down on 39. If we don't dig on 40, whenever we chop down trees, we won't be exposing holes into our base. So we want to be on 39. And we want the entrance to the fort to be this upstairs, so we can throw hatches on it and lock it and keep ourselves safe in there. Going to immediately start a air stockpile for the dwarves to start loading up the stuff from the surface. I have some idea of what I want. It's gonna look a little square at the beginning, but that's okay, in my opinion. And maybe I'll make this 1. No, that's fine. I was considering making it 1 wider, but I decided against it. Eventually, this will be the fort and the entrance for trade caravans will have to come down here. And I have to make a path for them to do that. The path for wagons has to be 3 wide. I was considering making 3 wide tunnels, 3 wide halls, but I'm deciding against that right now. I'm gonna make 4 wide. So let me make this 1 bigger, actually. 1 bigger here as well, and 2 bigger there. If I come over 6, we got plenty of room. Let's use it. And over here, 4 wide hallways. That'll be nice and roomy for the dwarves. Okay. So with 2 diggers, we should be good. We're gonna chop down a bunch of trees, and the other thing, let's collect some plants. That's good. I want to make sure we get some rope reed as well. I'll make it a high priority. And we're almost ready to unpause. We can look at the animals we got one more time. We got a boar, that's good. 2 cats, 2 dogs, reindeer, water buffalo, yak, cavies, useless, keet, okay. Stray lamb, I like. We can pen and pasture them just so we don't forget about it later. And we'll expand the area that they're pen and pastured in to include the entrance to the fort. Add anything that needs to graze up here, just so they stay up here and actually have a chance of eating some food. Now, when they knocked this tree in here, they knocked all of the willow logs into the water. Excellent. You can see already we've got sand. This is nice. And we're going to do a omni stockpile. What I like to do is turn off stone and turn off wood. Don't need any of that in this stockpile just yet. And that should bring everything else down here. What I would also like to do is create a wood stockpile up here So we actually are storing this stuff close to the fort. I'll give everyone else some tasks to do. You can see our diggers are digging very quickly, as they should. This is sand, very easy to dig through. Repaint the stockpile. I think we want it there. Yes. I'm just gonna take that out quickly. You can continue doing this actively while they are digging. So those will be the dimensions of the stockpile of just random stuff at this point. I'm going to set up a meeting area just so I can see my dwarves when they start milling about. And we're going to set up a pen and pasture here. Let's do that one, and we're going to stick the dogs in it. Just because we need them guarding our stuff. Continue expanding the stockpile. And dig out. I ran into some water here, of course, because it's under this. That's okay. I know why it's wet right there. It's going to be annoying to dig in that direction, but we'll handle it. And we got some animals hanging out in the meeting area. We got dwarves bringing stuff down. Diggers are done. Miners. Plenty of stuff there. Now that we have most people not milling around out here, we can get them chopping these things down. I like to go up a layer just to see the trees, determine where else I want them chopped down from. There's gotta be some more willows around here. Let's chop them, might as well. And my dwarves are just milling about. Can't have that now, can we? Workshops, first things first, carpenter's workshop. Let's give them carpenter's workshop right here for now, and make sure that I'm not using willow. I don't care what else I use, but it can't be willow. Need that for other things. Go to the labor menu, and you can see I've got a woodcutter. He's doing what he needs to do. We also want them to be the carpenter. And we're gonna say you're the crossbow maker as well. So let's rename these very quickly. And this way, only this dwarf will be doing these activities. And because they're the only ones doing these activities, we won't have a woodcutters or carpentry or guild hall for any of that activity, which we don't want. Don't want a guild hall for these activities. So anytime I am assigning my dwarves any task, I make sure only a limited number of dwarves will even try and do that task. Okay, so they will begin building that. The other things we should do is probably start looking at where we're going to be growing our plants. Let's do planting over here. Give them a nice wide hall. Give them a big room for planting. Give them a little doorway. Now I don't need all this dug right now, so I'll limit it. The other thing that would be nice is to design where the fort will actually be, or the main entrance will actually be. This is a temporary entrance, as I've stated, and with that, uh, it's, at some point I may block it off. Right now, it's fine as is, but I might as well, since I have miners which are not working. Stray cat has adopted someone. Great. Weather is cleared. Since I've got miners that will stop working once their tasks are sort of done, it'd be nice to give them new tasks. Make sure they're constantly doing something. The carpenter shop is not being built because my carpenter who would build it is... Ooh, giant wild boar. That is exciting. I have plans now. All right. View stockpile. Okay. We're gonna do something else. Mechanics. Plumb logs. And now we're going to very quickly start add new work detail. Coming down. We're going to do a mechanic. We're going to get a mechanic. Position created. And mechanic right now will be the expedition leader. Might as well do the pump operator, even though I don't need one right now. Add work detail, siege engineer. And siege operator. Just so all of these tasks are right next to each other, whenever I'm going to assign someone to it, I can just go down the list and click them. That is the plan. So hopefully they get started quickly. So first things first, let's make a chair. I will decide to make that out of almond wood. That's fine. And then make cage, wooden cage, and we're going to pick a wood to make it out of. Let's make it out of hazel because we've got 60, and we will put the wooden chairs first, and we'll make as many hazel cages as we can. Over here, we will make... I need rock mechanisms. I can't make wooden mechanisms. All right, so next task, slightly higher priority than whatever the miners are working on right now. We need to find rocks. Hopefully, they'll find them after they dig down 3 levels or so. Okay, we found shale. Good. So, what I plan to do here is once again, build out a area for them to work in. Eventually the barracks will be down here because this will be the main entrance to the fort. So let's do this. I'm going to do one more than I normally do here. Let's erase that. I don't think this is the actual size I'll use, but I'm preparing my trap hallway. So I need to make sure I make this long enough. 3, 3, so it actually makes sense. 3, sure. This one, and I'm going to erase this. Plan will be go up one layer. This is all lower priority. Up one layer, 4. Up one layer, 4. Up one layer, 4. So they will build a ramp down to the hallway. Within the hallway, there will be various paths to the main area, the storage area, and we'll proceed from there. Let's see if they're able to bauxite. All right. Well, I'm just going to have them. Oh, look at that. I'm just going to have them start making any rock mechanisms as fast as possible. And we can also have this taken apart. I would love to have some giant boars. Wonder how I could get them other than cages. I think cages is it. So we're going to traps, cage traps. Let's throw some around the entrance. We're going to then change the painting of this stockpile and expand it this way. Should probably have planned to have traps around my stockpile. In a at least 2 wide perimeter. And let's continue. Cages. Another one. Might be a good idea to get a second dwarf capable of doing these tasks. So Fisher Dwarf, that's what I'll do. Labor. So the Fisher Dwarf competent miner, that is nice. But I'm thinking metal crafter Fisher Dwarf can be another mechanic, pump operator, siege engineer, and siege operator. I don't know that the expedition leader will be doing that forever, but it's a good idea to have two of them capable of doing it, and the mason doesn't have another task, so they can pick up the pick as well. I'm okay if all the dwarves know how to mine. They're dwarves, they should all know how to mine, in my opinion. Let's give them some more space down here. And more stuff to dig up. Should be carving out mechanisms. We got cages. Excellent. Let's keep with the cage traps. Traps, cage, keep going even after I click. Not making masterwork mechanisms yet, doesn't matter. Really, no one started taking this apart. That's interesting. Come on. Those giant wild boar would be fun. This is what normally happens. I find some animal which would be fun to include in my fort. Then I decide to do that, and I find another large animal that would be fun, and I keep cascading until it's an overwhelming amount of work. But I love it. These cage traps will also, at the very least, keep us safe if some wild animals are about to enter the fort area. Dowling mechanic. The other thing we should do is, and I already started this, slap down a chair, create a office, and create a manager. So upset he doesn't have an office. Okay. Now you do. Are you still upset? Nope, you're happy. Excellent. And let's see, we want to build 10 beds, sure. Make them out of walnut, plum, peach, plum. We'll do plum wood. There's a carpenter, colonite. Ah, excellent. We'll be able to dig out the colonite, and with that we can make ceramics. Now that I dug this out, I really should put some doors here. Oh, because it's the second way into the fort. They're going to be upset they don't have cups eventually. There's a lot of tasks to take care of. So I think what I'm going to do is put the other main traps there. It started raining. I'm gonna put the other traps here. The fact that we've got two mechanics means someone will place the traps and haul cages out to them, which is nice. We can go over to the furniture and place a bed, at least temporarily, and call it a dormitory. And once someone places it, they can immediately take a nap if they want, or just sleep right there on the floor. I'm sure she'll be happy about that. The rock mechanisms. I want to surround everything just in case the animals come in a diagonal. I don't want them to slip through these traps too easily. And they probably will, but I'd like for it to not happen. Come on. So these two mechanisms are those two traps. Grab another furniture bed, stick it here, extend this, and maybe it won't be too miserable. Where is... So the miner is sleeping. Perfect. Didn't want them actually, mining. Get to work, you dwarves. Let's do another bed. I don't think that this has to be contiguous. So let's paint it over here. Okay. It doesn't. They'll stick a bed there, and there'll be 3 beds, dormitory. Anyone who needs them can use them. They may not be happy about it, but they can. And stick the final cage trap here. Perfect. So the entrance is cage trapped if some wild animals were to come attack us. It would not be the worst thing. We would cage them as they came by. It looks like we probably missed our opportunity to get the giant wild boars, but we'll stick cage traps out and see if we can catch them again later. And we have a dormitory, we have an office, we have a manager, we have beginnings of the stone fort down below. We're in good shape. Next time, priority will be making mugs for everyone and starting farming. All right, thank you. See you next time.